What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. My name is Jace Andrews, and we got a loaded show for you today as there's a lot of news around the Chiefs. The first being Travis Kelce spoke about Chris Jones, and he wants him to come back. He wants his teammate back on the Chiefs squad. And then the Chiefs, they shift around a bunch of players on practice squad. We'll talk about the two acquisitions. And then Justyn Ross and Rashee Rice are getting key roles. Well, we'll talk about what that means later in the show. The first order of business, though, was Travis Kelce and what he had to say on the Chris Jones situation. On the latest episode of him and his brother's podcast, he was asked what he wanted to say to Jones, and, well, he said this, quote, "Chris, you're really scaring me, man. Can you please come back? I don't get it. You must know something I don't know, because I just don't get it. I really want to win another Super Bowl ring with you, brother. This is me bargaining with you just to come back and play football for the Chiefs." Travis Kelce, you are speaking to the people. You are all of Chiefs Kingdom right now. We want Chris Jones. We want him on the squad. And that's, I think, what everybody would want to say is just please come back, get another ring, come play for the Chiefs. So Kelce got to do it. Why don't you do it too? If you could speak to Chris Jones, what would you say? I want you to put it in the comments. I want that to be a little kind of rant section. If you had the opportunity to go say something to Chris Jones, what would you say? Write it in the comments below. I want to know. I'm going to read through them and see what we can do to get Chris Jones on the Chiefs squad before game one. And for Chris, this is what I would say. Come back and prove yourself again. Right now, he's not getting what he wants. And that's okay. That's fair. I think he's probably getting a pretty good deal, but come back and prove yourself again. Last year, he had a phenomenal year. The sacks at 15.5, impressive is a least of the statement I would say. You got to come back, do it again, and then that money that you're asking for, well, guess what? It's going to be there. You just got to do it again because then you're a free agent next year. You're not just talking to the Chiefs. You're talking to a lot of people. Right now, it's just one team. Come back, earn that money, and I guarantee if you do the same thing as you did last year, you're going to get exactly what you want. The problem for him, though, is he's losing a lot of money right now because so far he's been fined over $2 million, or right at $2 million over the past, let's say, 2-3 months. It was $50,000 every day he missed training camp. So that's not what you would want to see for a pro athlete. And I got to ask, when is it not worth it for Jones? Because he's going to lose more and more and more money as this season progresses. And he kind of alluded to that he was willing to sit out until week 8. And that's going to be a hefty tab. But he said, well, guess what? I can pay for that. So I think the biggest thing with Chris Jones, you got to come back. Just prove yourself once again. Come show Chiefs Kingdom and show the NFL. You're deserving of that money that you want, which to him, he thinks he's worth $30 million a year annually. All right, before we move on to the practice squad acquisitions, I got a really good deal for you. See, we got the Chiefs coming up here in now less than a week. 6 days, the Chiefs will be on an NFL field playing regular season football against the Detroit Lions. And what's the best way to celebrate that? Well, getting some new Chiefs gear. So, you want some of that? Well, click the link down below, chatsports.com/ChiefsT. You'll get this awesome t-shirt for 40% off. Again, chatsports.com/ChiefsT. It's a great opportunity to kind of re-up your Chiefs gear, get some extra Chiefs merch in your closet before the 2023 season gets rolling. All right, the practice squad. Let's keep going here as there was a little bit of a shakeup there. We had one guy dropped, a couple of guys added. Let's go through it as two new faces added to the Chiefs practice squad yesterday. The first one we're going to talk about is Keith Taylor. He replaced Reese Taylor. He came in. He's a little bit more of a, I'm not going to say veteran cornerback, but he's been in the league for a little longer. Coming out, 6'2", 185. That's about the size Veach likes for his cornerbacks. 67 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 2 fumble recoveries is not that bad for, actually it's pretty good for the first 2 years of your career. So I think it's going to add experience to the cornerback room overall as he's a guy who's been in the league for 2 years. He knows kind of the ins and outs in the NFL. And this cornerback depth chart, well, it's a little young. Trent McDuffie is your cornerback 1 and Jalen Watson. Well, those guys, well, they're not the oldest guys. They're in their second year. L'Jarius Sneed, obviously, more of a veteran type guy. And then Nick Jones is just a rookie. You also have Shamari Connor, who could play in the cornerback role. He's a rookie. So I think adding Keith Taylor is just a way to bolster up the veteran presence in the Chiefs cornerback room. The second player we want to talk about is Montrell Washington. Coming out of Sanford, he's a guy that has been labeled as a receiver, but overall, he only had 4 receptions for 2 yards, and he had 30 yards rushing. 30 yards rushing came on a very cool jet sweep play that the Broncos used him in. But the big thing that I take away from him, 611 return yards. He could see some opportunities in the returner role, as it's kind of, I'm not going to say a question mark, but there's 3 guys on the Chiefs that could possibly be in that return role. So I think for him, it's easy to see him maybe getting pulled up a week, putting him on that squad, because right now your Chiefs return man options are Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, and Richie James. All 3 are not bad options. They all 3 have experience returning the ball, and I'm not going to say they're the best of the best, but when you take a look at their return stats, that's definitely adequate. I mean, Sky Moore was the biggest guy last year with 17 returns over punts and kickoffs, 136 yards, an 8-yard average. Is pretty good for a return man, but I kind of like it. I think we could see him getting pulled up as Washington. He's got the skill set to possibly maybe say Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Richie James. One of the 3 gets injured. Well, they're all 3 going to be used in the wide receiving corps, so if you want to get one of them injured, you don't want to have to then use another one on a return man and risk injury there. You could see Washington be pulled up for that week, make him the lone return man, and it could possibly work out. So again, I like the ad there of Montrell Washington coming out of Sanford. Overall, great pickup, guy you could put in a lot of situations in the special teams area. All right, before we move on, I want you to subscribe to the Chiefs Report because, well, I want you to join the Chiefs Report kingdom, the Chiefs Report family, as the Chiefs season coming up. And we're going to have all the latest news, rumors, everything, all right here on the Chiefs Report. So make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to go the extra mile, click that notification button so you never miss a video. All right, the last story we're going to talk about today was Andy Reid and his wide receivers. We've known Andy Reid to kind of put a lot of different formations, packages, whatever you want to call it, in play for a lot of receivers. Well, there was a little bit of reports coming out that both Justyn Ross and Rashee Rice are going to have those packages. And Rice and Ross, well, they're unique. They're unique in their own ways. Both of them have skill sets that kind of match, I'm not going to say an Andy Reid type player, but a guy that Andy Reid can build around. Their preseason stats, they were pretty good. Justyn Ross with the 2 touchdowns, including the Ross catch against the Cleveland Browns. And then Rashee Rice, he looked really good in the preseason until that last game, I will say. That last game was not the best, as had a couple of drops. It really wasn't his most impressive game, but he's got some speed. And with Ross's size, I could see him being used in a lot of different packages for Andy Reid. And then with Rice, his speed could definitely be a factor, really in a lot of senses this season. Which receiver are you most excited to see this season? I mentioned 2 that I think we're going to see in some, I'm not going to say extravagant formations, but definitely unique. So which receiver are you most excited to see? I want you to put it in the comments below. I know the hype behind Ross is real. Everybody loves to see him, but maybe Sky Moore. I'm excited to see him. He has wide receiver 1 opportunities. He could definitely be that wide receiver 1 ahead of Kadarius Toney by the end of the year. So get in the comments and let me know which wide receiver you're most excited. All right, last thing on the agenda today. It's day 2. Our Raiders host is getting a Raiders tattoo. And I need your help. We need to show them who runs the AFC West. And that's the Chiefs. So go to the live stream, get in the chat, spam Chiefs Kingdom all day long. They're going to be live pretty much the entire afternoon, a little bit into the evening. So get in the chat. I'll have the link below in the description. Go click on it, get in there, and make sure Chiefs Kingdom is heard.